Hey everybody, I'm here with Daniel Scranton and we're doing his year in review. So for those people who haven't watched last year's video or who just want a quick recap of what you do,
Oh, me? Yeah.
yeah, would you want to, I know, I kind of,
I do more now, so that's kind of cool.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
you've
So,
definitely grown over the year, but what
sure.
is it that you do?
For 4 years now, I've been offering services as a verbal channel, direct voice channel, which means I link up with beings who exist in higher frequency ranges, and I channel their energy and translate it subconsciously into my language of English. And so these beings are like teachers, and they share their knowledge and their perspective with people. And so that's my primary thing that I do. But I also do sound healings and I teach channeling, and recently decided that I wanted to start teaching meditation. So I haven't had any clients for that yet, but it's something I'm putting out there.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks. And people can get all that info on danielscranton.com.
they sure can.
Awesome. So, where did these new ideas come from? How did you
Somebody
start?
approached me about teaching. So I think it was something that I had like in the back of my mind. And this was about December of last year. But I hadn't taken any steps to doing it. And then someone asked me if I would do it. And I was like, yeah, of course, I would love to. And then after a couple sessions with her, I realized I like doing this. This is fun, and I'm going to start offering it. And then I'm so glad that I did. It's been really good, and I enjoy it so much.
Nice.
Yeah. So
That's
I
great.
do private sessions with the channeling lessons where I work one-on-one with people, and then I also offer a group class about, like once a month. So
Awesome.
yeah,
So, I love that you say it was in the back of your mind already because I like to teach people that our intuition is that like low, subtle, consistent voice that we tend to ignore. So that's perfect.
I tend to just I. It's not like I ignore it because I don't. Sometimes it's just like I don't feel like doing anything about it
Mhm.
in the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I want to do, and I sometimes I just rather watch Star Trek or True Blood. I started watching True Blood now, so
Nice.
I'm done now.
Mhm.
No more work.
Yeah, I started rewatching Ugly Betty today. So,
Oh, that's such a great show.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in contrast, is there anything that you've done over the last year that was really like from your mind that didn't get you anywhere?
Hmm. That's a good question. I don't really know. I can't really think of anything that hasn't worked. Um, well, maybe the teaching meditation thing, because I haven't really promoted it though. Is the thing I just put it on my website as a thing. So
Yeah.
we'll see if I offer a group class, and I'll get back to you if nobody signs up. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Well, that's probably not the greatest example because what I'm really talking about is like in in the world of having your own business, everybody's trying to tell you what to do. And that's normally the stuff that we get in our brains that's like
Yeah.
screaming like you have to do this, you have to do that. And they
Yeah.
don't normally work anyway. So,
Right.
yeah, but you're
Right.
good. You're clear from that.
I,
So,
I'm so it's so easy for me to not do things.
mhm.
It's a gift. So, um, yeah, I mean, I did do a workshop in Ojai that our friend Nora Harold recommended I do, and I had like 3 people sign up for it, which
Mhm.
was obviously a lot lower than I was hoping for. But my mind had told me all along that no one was going to show up.
There you go. Yeah.
Because there's not many people in Ojai, and there's even less people who know what I do in Ojai.
Mm.
So, but it's something that if I was going to stay here longer, I would definitely do again. But since I'm moving in a month
Mhm.
to Hawaii, which is definitely one of those things like teaching channeling where it's like Oh yeah, I know. I do want to move to Hawaii because the psychic told us she saw Hawaii and a volcano, and we didn't even know at the time that we were going to be going to the Big Island. We thought we'd be going to Kauai if we did move, but we are moving to the Big Island, so there is a volcano there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So speaking of Hawaii, over the past year, a lot has developed for you, not just in your offerings, but your email list has grown. You've done more retreats. You've come back to Connecticut.
Yeah.
You're moving to Hawaii.
I did an event with Nora Harold, which is like, my hero, my idol, my mentor.
The channel panel.
I channeled right before her at an event, and I was like, oh my God, if you told me a year ago that I'd be doing this, I would have, hidden the corner. But yeah, so I'm putting myself out there more in a lot of ways. I have my radio show now, which, we're in the same network.
Yep.
So yeah, so the radio thing is fun and it's going well, and someone who I consider to be a relatively famous person, their PR person contacted me about being on my show, so that was really cool. And I'm going to have him on later this month. His name's Jonathan Goldman. He's a new age musician, composer, sound healer, just amazing stuff he puts out. And so it's like another one of those moments, where I'm like, oh my God, am I really interviewing Jonathan Goldman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, fantastic. And you say that you don't take much action.
Yeah.
You obviously take the right action. You take the
True.
inspired action, right?
True. My wife, Lana, marvels at the way that I'm so consistent. So I put out a quote every night from the beings I channel. And, I have other things I do consistently, but as far as work goes, I'm doing a weekly thing with called Live Q&A. So that's something that's consistent, and the daily quote is consistent. The radio shows every week. So I do have these consistent action things that I do. So I am taking, and I love doing all of it. So
yeah.
I'm not forcing myself, in other words.
Exactly, yeah. When you're taking that inspired action, it's normally pretty effortless.
Yeah.
Just kind of roll with it.
Yeah.
So I've also heard you mention too that you don't just channel one quote a day. You channel at least two, right? And then you pick which one you want to put
I used to do that, and that was about my famous bear story, where that was the hike I used to do that on, where I got chased by a bear. So I stopped doing that hike, and then I started to notice that there was a lot of mosquitoes around when I would sit to channel, and it was in the summer months, and so I got out of that habit of doing that. And now I just come into my office at night and usually do one, although recently I have been doing a couple, and because I want to start doing more stuff with the unicorns. And so but there's a part of me that's a little scared about putting out that I'm channeling unicorn. I feel like it takes away from the credibility to a certain extent of what I do. And so I'm that's something that I guess my mind is saying, are you sure you want to tell people that you channel unicorns, and put that out there, and who's going to take you seriously, stuff like that comes up. But so lately I've been doing one from Michael, one from the unicorns, and seeing which one resonates more with me. So.
I think all of us in this field, in this kind of kooky field, according to most people, have that kind of fear. I talk to a lot of people who are afraid to tell their loved ones or their friends that they're psychic.
Yeah.
And I am having the same fear about coming out with my relationship with ETs, because I feel like that's way too crazy for most people to handle. But I think for you, channeling unicorns and being open about it is just going to open you up to a whole new level, because that's something everyone can identify with. Not everybody believes in angels.
I think part of it is like, okay, the creators, they're just this group that's out there somewhere in the non-physical doing God knows what. And that's fine. Like that, I could easily say, yeah, that's. I'm sure that they exist and everything, and I'm channeling them. But the unicorns, it's like there's kind of like a different. It's almost like if you're a person who's like really into unicorns, and you just roll their eyes or something, So I think there's a bit of a stigma with unicorns in particular. I mean, I'd much rather be channeling vampires. Because they're hot, everybody likes the vampires right now, and there's movies and television shows, but unicorns are like for little girls who have active imaginations or something. But actually, if you watch the movie Men in Black 3, there's a unicorn in that movie, and it's an amazing depiction of what a unicorn is, and I highly recommend Men in Black 3 to everyone.
I don't think I've seen that. I'll have to check that out.
Oh, it's the best of the three of them too, which is amazing for a series.
Yeah, it was great. I think I saw the first two.
Yeah.
All right, so for anybody watching, if you want to hear from the unicorns, then email Daniel Scranton. Daniel Scranton. What's the best email to get?
Well, there's me at danielscranton.com. I know my own name.
Perfect. Email me at danielscranton.com if you want to hear from the unicorns, and tell him not to be afraid.
Yeah, or if you want to learn to meditate or channel or anything. Yeah.
Awesome. So for people out there who also maybe aren't that into taking action, but they have a desire to work for themselves or to share their gifts, do you have any advice for them?
Yes, and this may sound weird, but a friend who we bumped into yesterday who does healing work and has a website and all that stuff, but she hasn't drawn in a lot of business in that way. And I said to her, call in a partner who's good at marketing and good, because that's what I did, and I didn't even realize I was doing it. But I married Lana, and she has all this expertise and technical savvy and stuff, and it was a beautiful partnership. And what my friend Jennifer told me later on in the day was that some other business coach that she's been working with told her, don't do the things that you don't want to do. Get someone else to do it that will love doing it. So if there are things that you don't want to do, then you can always find someone else to do it, or you can always trust that if you don't want to do it, then either the timing's not right, it's not the right thing for you to do anyway. There's so many different ways you can draw in clients and people who are interested in what you do vibrationally. One of the things that I'm a huge believer in is doing what you love to do every day and making sure that you're following your bliss, and then you are putting out that energy, and that's the most important thing, because otherwise, if you turn it into doing a bunch of things you don't want to do, you might as well get a job.
You're going to be repelling the people that you want to work with, because nobody wants to work with someone who's frustrated and agitated and depressed about what they're doing. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for the advice.
Thank you.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you would want to tell people about, incremental growth and what you can accomplish if you just start?
I think that here's two things I've noticed in my years of doing this. One is perseverance is important, because when I look at my work, and I don't want to sound like I'm bragging or anything, when I look at my work and I look at another person's work, and I see the content and I feel the energy of both of them, and I say, they're not offering anything that's in any way better than what I'm offering, but they've been doing it for longer. And I think the longer you do it for, the more people find out about you and the more people get into your work and all of that. So there's definitely something to be said for perseverance, because the people who have been doing it for a long time, you have a 3-month waiting list to get a session with them, or they're charging $500 a session or $350 or something like that, So that's one thing, is, stick with it. And then also allow your confidence to grow in that incremental way through the things that you do and the feedback that you get, and you get a little bit more confident and you get a little bit more confident. And then before you know it, you've got enough confidence that what you're doing is worth someone paying you for. And then you're putting that energy out, and then you're saying, this is what I'm worth, and you raise your rates or whatever, and more people are responding to that. So the other thing I've noticed is that people who do this type of work that I do, this new age teaching type work, there are some people that have just huge confidence in themselves, and they're doing really well. So I see that as a correlation. I think it's not a chicken and egg situation. I think it's a correlation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Daniel.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you taking the time to update us.
It's my pleasure. Always.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. We'll talk soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, Rachel.